Welcome everybody to our Database Masters panel. We've got our amazing panelists here, Holly Robideau, Amber Stewart, and Sara Allen. Thank you ladies for taking the time to share your knowledge and experience with the agents on this call and for this training video. We're going to do our same panel format. We're going to have our intro and have our panelists explain who they are and why you should listen to them. And how they're mastering their database has benefited them financially in their business. And then we're going to go through our 3 panel questions, and then we're going to open it up for the Q&A. So we're going to go ahead and start with Holly. So Holly, tell us a little bit about you, your real estate business, and anything else you'd like to share.
Well, of course, my name is Holly Robideau. I am actually a dual career agent. This is my 4th year. I'm going into my 4th year in real estate. And this past year was my best real estate year yet. And as far as the database goes, I have 3,905 contacts in my database.
Awesome. Thank you. Amber.
Yes, I'm Amber Stewart. So I've had my license for 9 years. I started in Houston and then we moved to North Dakota and I had my license there. And then we moved back to Houston. We've been back for 3 years. And so I have 1,050 contacts in my database at the moment. So
Awesome. Perfect. And are you an individual agent or what is your team set up?
My husband just joined last year in 2020. So we are technically now a team and it's really fun being on a team with him. So
awesome. Thank you. And last but not least, Sara, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Sara Allen. This is my 9th year in real estate. I've been on teams the whole time. So I started with a big team and now we're a team of 2 with an admin. So 3 total. We have our transaction coordinator and handles all of our client love for us. As far as our database goes, we actually have set this year aside to really get in command. So we cleaned our database out from about 5,000 contacts where we had just mess and stuff that, databases can get messy over time. So I think we're down to about 1,500 quality contacts that we can genuinely say we know and keep in touch with regularly.
Awesome. Thank you ladies for sharing that, a little bit of background. And one cool thing that we like to do on these panels is we want to get different perspectives, right? So we've got Holly, who is a dual career agent. We've got Amber, who is a husband and wife team, but has been an individual agent for most of her time. And we've got Sara, who has spent her entire career on teams. So thank you ladies for being on our panel today. So we're going to start with Amber first, go to Sara, and then to Holly with our first question. What does your database mean in your business?
So basically, it really is your business. If you don't have people that you're connecting with, when you get into real estate, sometimes you have the misconception that selling houses is about houses. It's not about that. It's about people and connecting with people. And so it's really the most important part of my business is connecting with people, which thankfully I also love that as much as I love houses. So
awesome. Thank you. And Sara, what does having a database mean for you or your team in y'all's business?
Similar to what Amber said, it really is your business. We've made it a point to really dig down each year and recap. And last year alone, out of 42 transactions, 38 of them were all referrals or past clients or spheres. So our business has very much stayed a referral business. We haven't had to go into buying leads and using different lead sources like that. So we've really focused on, having the client connections and making sure that they know we're here for them long-term as far as, once the house closes, following up through the database with homestead exemptions and new construction, reminding them of warranty things. And it kind of gives you a nice place to keep everything at your fingertips and to really, if you utilize it right, it keeps that referral business going.
Perfect. And you said earlier in your intro that your team spent some time cleaning up your database, right, when you moved it into command. So what did you mean by that? Could you explain what cleaning up your database meant?
We did. So when we changed brokerages, 5 years ago now, I don't know, we've been Premier for quite a while, we had stuff coming from everywhere. So there were old team leads, there were our leads, there were our databases, our spheres. There were, you get leads from open houses that you may have dropped. You get different events, all of that fun stuff. So, we were in a great habit of sticking them into a database, but not necessarily making the personal touches. They'd go on an email drip campaign, but we weren't really following through there. And so this year, our biggest goal with Command and with all the flexibility it offers is to take advantage of getting it down to the core contacts that we know we've either worked with, our sphere, our past clients, to be able to really focus in on those, versus a lot of times we'd get into the database and it was just kind of daunting because it wasn't super organized. It wasn't something that was easy to just go find what you were looking for in. And we used eEdge. So we came from a big team that used Boomtown and a bunch of like the paid services. So for us, our big thing when we started the team was we're going to be cost effective and we're going to take full advantage of everything KW offers. So we did not use any paid systems from day one in Forza. We have literally stuck to eEdge campaigns, everything that KW provided. And now that Command has come out and we've started seeing all the different functionalities of it, it's actually pretty flexible for our team. So like we now can go in there and pull like our VIP referral clients, and I can tell you exactly how many referrals have come in from by person, so that now we can really focus in on those people as well. And then we do programs like first responders and educators and veterans, and now I can pull those lists too, instead of we'd spend extra time going back through our production logs trying to remember who was which. So it's been nice to be able to use the tags and stuff and have it down to the core of who we need.
Awesome. Perfect. So not only did you scrub your database, but you were able to put them, by tagging them, you were able to create easily pullable lists to be able to target if you're sending something specific out to first responders, right? You don't have to go from memory. You can just pull that tag, right? So not only is it cost effective, but it also saves you a lot of time, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
And last but not least on our first question, Holly. So Holly, what does your database mean in your business?
So I have to ditto what Amber and Sarah both said. In fact, I just learned something from Sarah, so I'm kind of excited about the tags of first responders, educators, and veterans, because I have not done that yet. But when I think about my database, I get really excited because it is going to allow me to do what I want for my family, because it's a gold mine. Mm-hmm. I mean, it truly is. And like Sarah said, I also went through my database this year. Well, actually, I didn't. I hired a person through KW to go through and scrub my database. So they got rid of anybody that I didn't know. They got rid of people that I didn't have all their contact information. And so I really started fresh with that 3,000. I think I got rid of about 2,000 people.
Awesome. And you had mentioned in your intro, Holly, that you're a dual career agent. So how do you combine, or how do you utilize your database, because you have, real estate as your secondary career?
Yes, I keep firing myself at my other job and hiring myself back. I don't know. But what I had to do is I leveraged, and I hired Philip through KW, and they actually managed my database for me because I have to leverage. So they had set up all my smart plans, my campaigns. They send me my calls each week, everything that I need to do. So they take care of all that for me. All I need to do is my calls and enter the information into Command.
Awesome. And how did you find that information in order to connect with Philip?
So I found it through the coaching program. So Krista is my coach who
coaching, correct?
Through Mass Coaching, yes. And if anybody wants to message me, I will be happy to share Philip's contact information. I believe he's out of Alaska, but they do everything for me. In fact, I've never sent out mass emails to any of my clients. Well, this year, apparently I sent out like a Christmas email to all of my, all of my database, and I got actual responses back. Wow. People saying, Merry Christmas to you, can we get together this year? So, yeah, I was kind of excited about that.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, Holly. So we're going to go to Sarah and then Holly and then Amber for the second question. So Sarah first, how has having your database in command helped or saved you money in your business? And you have already spoken on this a little bit, but do you have anything else that you want to share?
Really, it's just the way that they've set it up. I mean, even versus the eEdge database that we had, you could do groups and whatnot. Like I said, with the tags, I think Boomtown was running around $1,000 a month. So that alone, having it included with the KW membership, you're being part of the brokerage, that saves you, you know, $1,000 a month to what you might be spending on Top Producer or Boomtown or something like that. And they've got it so flexible that it really can be made to whatever you as an individual agent, a team, a group need to make it work. So that's been nice. It's not like I haven't run into anything yet where there's only one way. So usually you can find a way to make it fit what you need. So between that and then, like I said, the time that it saved us now that it's all organized, it's been a huge help for us. That's kind of our focus this year, is rebuilding the contacts in there. And like Holly was mentioning, the mass emails, I know some agents aren't huge fans of those, but we get the same thing. Like, you know, your clients don't necessarily know it's a mass email. So we get contacts reaching out over that, and it's a perfect drip. You know, we try to follow up with a call, personal, like on holidays and everything too, but we've had a lot of referrals come through that way, just saying, oh, hey, how are you guys? I was actually thinking about you. Thanks for sending this. So it's been a great way to just drip on them.
So awesome. So just to recap what you said that you have everyone tagged in command. So you have specific mass emails that go out to your client database, and you've gotten business from that, correct? You've had people respond back and say, yes, I've been thinking about this. Yes, I'm looking to buy, sell, or invest, right?
Yeah, like for instance, the home anniversary is a big one. We'll send something out, and usually around 5 years, we start incorporating in there. If you think you're starting to outgrow it, give us a call. You know, normally it's just a happy home anniversary, but once they start getting into that 5 to 7 year itch, we'll start putting kind of more of a call to action on there.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And Holly, how has having your database moved in command helped you save money in your business or increased money in your business?
Well, I think it's helped me increase. I've never bought leads or anything, but the people that are in my database, they already know me, they already trust me, they already like me. So just nurturing those people that are in my database is bringing me business.
Perfect. What was the last piece of business you feel that you've gotten from reaching out to your database?
So this week I've gotten 2 appointments from reaching out to the database that came over Christmas. So I have I'm taking buyers out on Saturday. I have an appointment on Monday, actually 3, and then I have a listing appointment next Friday, all through the database.
Congratulations. That's awesome. So
Thank
even
you.
if you take all 3, the average commission for our brokerage is $9,000. So that could be, you know, easily $27,000 in income just by your database working itself, right?
Yes.
Pretty awesome. Thank you, Holly. And Amber, so how has having your database in command helped or saved you guys money in your business?
So we also tag people. We tag them a little bit differently than what Sarah was saying. So we tag them according to like the never ending referrals, so that I can call them. At least I try and call everybody in my database at, 4 times a year. And then we also have them set up to where I try to do 2 events a year, and I kind of try to keep track of who's come and all of that. And I do that also in command. And so that I can make sure that people who are interested in coming to events can come again, because I haven't completely scrubbed my database as I should, like y'all are talking about. So I need to go and do that, because I know there's important ones that are actually going to come to my events that are going to be more engaged. And then there's some that are just kind of there. And another thing that has been a blessing to our business is that we have been purchasing some Facebook leads and some leads in command that go on Facebook. And it's sort of a lot to keep up with, the leads that come in, but we have gotten some pretty good conversations coming from that. And I am working with a lady right now who, she was purely a Facebook lead, and I left a message on for her, and I said, okay, have a blessed day. And she called me back. She said, I just liked it so much that you said have a blessed day. And so we've been working together. So
awesome. So you're saying that not only are you utilizing your database to generate business, but you're also utilizing the other tools in command, like campaigns and marketing, in order to bring new leads in and add them to your database, right?
Right.
And
And
so
I try to have smart plans on as many people as I can as well for the drip campaign, like Sarah was saying too.
So perfect. So what would a smart plan do? Can you explain sort of what your smart plan does in your business? What is the purpose of it?
I like the monthly smart plan that they send out because it gives them information about where they live and their zip code and information that would hopefully help them should they think maybe they will sell. So I usually go to the monthly one, and I'm trying to get everybody on the birthday one. That one's a little bit more complicated for me, but yeah, so that they can all get birthday cards automatically.
Perfect. So let me ask you, and I didn't have this question, but I'm going to ask all of you guys. What do you think, besides just email and phone number, what are some other valuable pieces of data that you feel is important to have on a contact in your database?
So to do the monthly ones, you have to at least have a subdivision, if not their address. So I try to get that information as much as possible. And a way that I've found to do that is for around the holidays, I will contact the people that I don't have addresses for and just say, hey, I'm updating my database and I wanted to send you a Christmas card or a holiday card. May I please have your email, your mailing address so that I can do that? And the response I get is usually like, wow, you're so on top of things. And it's like, yeah, I'm just trying to get my database.
So awesome. So you feel that the subdivision and the physical mailing address is vitally important. So Sarah, what about you? What's a piece of data that you think is important outside of just email and phone number to have in your database on your clients?
So aside from those two for us, we do, like, that was a big part of the scrub too, was having, most of our contacts in our database are at like 90%, 96% on their health scores that Command has. So we connect them with the spouse through the relationship tab. That was actually really nice because we've had a lot of families bring in uncles and aunts and kids, and you can add all of that together. So you can kind of pair them as a group, which is great when you're trying to target things like that. But we keep birthdays, home anniversaries, and the address as well, because we do the monthly nurture as well. Birthdays are a big thing for us. We haven't really done anything automated. We actually do a personal card. We meet once a month as a team and we all sign them. And that's been a really big hit. A lot of the clients are totally surprised to get something with our signatures in it versus just kind of they still get an email too, but we send a card in the mail for their birthdays each month.
Awesome. Thank you. And Holly, what about you? What other piece of data besides just email and phone number do you think is important in a database?
Well, for me, I like the birthday as well, but each week when I get my calls, if I don't have all the information, what I do is send them a quick message through either Messenger or an email and asking them for their information. And most of them are giving it right back. So that's been helpful in getting my database updated as well.
Perfect, because if they're in your database, more than likely what Holly said earlier is you already have a relationship with them, right? So it's a little bit easier for them to give you birthdays and anniversaries because they already trust you. That information is a little bit more challenging if it's a cold lead coming in, right? Because you haven't built that relationship. So awesome. Well, thank you for sharing, ladies. We're going to go Amber, Holly, and then Sarah for this next question, because I want to tap back in and dive a little bit deeper on something that Amber mentioned. So you said, how do you touch and connect with your database every year? And on the last question, you had mentioned never-ending referrals, or DTD2, which a lot of people will know it by now. So can you explain to everybody what that means and how that helps you touch your database?
So DTD2, what does it stand for, Mary? Do you remember? Something to
do the database.
Do the database too. Yes. So when you go through never ending referrals, they give you they tell you what order to call people in, and it's really kind of genius the way they set it up, because they start with like A and W, and so that there's not they set it up in a way so that you will hopefully not have 1,000 to call one week and 5 to call the next week, so that it is balanced out for you. But so they set it up in never-ending referrals where each week you have 2 letters of the last name that you call. So A and W, you would call everybody Anderson and Williams, and you call them, and you first you try and get a hold of them. If you can't get a hold of them, then when you leave a message, you say, I'll be in touch. And then you try and call them again another time and at a different time of the day, preferably. And then leave them another message. And basically they want you to try 3 times to connect if you don't get with that person. So, so that you can hopefully touch that contact. And if not, they'll at least know that you were trying. And then they also just really, so they want you to face-to-face or voice-to-voice 4 times a year at least. And then also, you can do that through planning events, and so that you have a reason to call them and invite them to things and things like that too. So.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you for sharing. I know that's going to be helpful for everybody. So what, besides DTD2, never ending referrals, what are some other ways that, and you had mentioned client events, what are some other ways that you touch or connect to your database every year?
So I try to send out 2 promotionals a year, just a coupon from one of my preferred partners. And I usually every year send out, at the beginning of the year, I send out those little calendars that are just small that they go on your fridge. And honestly, people really enjoy those. They thank me for them. And I'm always just a little bit surprised that they would, because they're like 40 cents. But they like them. And so I send those out. I try to send out 2 promotionals, so the calendar and then a coupon of some sort. And then the other thing that I try to do besides calling them and doing events would just be to get with them around the holidays, and so that I can, it's and then at the beginning of the year I ask them, do you have any, goals for this year? Any 2021 goals? What are your goals for this year? So.
Perfect. And do you put all that information into Command, or where do you keep all that information?
I do. I put everything into notes, because if I don't, then I end up with stickies everywhere, Post-its everywhere, and trying to get them all back together. And I drive myself crazy if I put everything in a notebook, because I'm the type of the person that I love to write things down. So even if I write it down, I try to take the time. I try to put it into my time blocking to go back and put it into Command. So that I have it right there, because now that my husband is on a team with me, I need him to be able to have access to notes for people. If I've talked to somebody, and then he can look in there and see that, and it's helpful for him. And should we continue to grow our team, I would like for them to have that information as well. So.
Perfect. Thank you, Amber. Holly, so how do you touch or connect with your database every year?
So honestly, this is the first year, the end of last year and this year, the first year that I've really touched my database, because like I said, I hired somebody to get it all organized for me. And now it's organized. So now I have a goal, I have a game plan, but what I want to focus on this year is really understanding Command, because like I said, I've hired somebody that has set it all up for me. And so I don't really understand how it all works. So my goal is to actually get in and learn it this year.
Awesome. And in the past, how have you followed up with your clients with your database prior to Command?
I haven't. I have not. So everybody that I've done business with, as far as real estate goes, is somebody that I know. So it's all been, my sphere. They actually walk into our door at our CPA company, or they're just friends of mine.
So let me ask you another question. Have you ever had somebody who you knew not use you because you didn't follow up with them that you knew about? Like they use a different realtor?
Yes. Yes, I have.
So what, how did you find out about that, and how did that feel when you found that out?
Well, I don't know that they even knew I was a real estate agent, because I wasn't using my database the way I needed to use it. And, it kind of upset me a little bit, but it's my own fault. And so in the future, they now know that I'm a real estate agent, and they are getting my campaign, whichever one it is set up on, they're getting that now.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. When I talk to agents, the one thing that I always remind people is and if you've met with me in the last couple of years, you've heard me say this. If you can't pull out your phone, your own personal phone, and tell yourself where every person in your phone works and what they do, they can't remember you're a real estate agent. And so the value of your follow-up in your database is you keep top of mind because people get busy. Life is busy, right? So systematically touching your database, following up, make sure people know that you're a realtor, then you're gonna be top of mind. So thank you, Holly, for sharing. And last but not least, Sara, how do you and your team, and you mentioned some things already, handwritten cards that you guys do monthly, but how do you touch your database every year?
So we've pretty much revamped everything for this year. I would say we're great as far as lead gen goes. We'll make our calls, but it didn't necessarily mean they were coming from the database. So we did strongly focus on our past clients. And we use Trello as a team too. So a lot of the times we'd just be going through our Trello cards and like, you know, in past years versus going into the database. So this year, we do each year what's called letters from the heart. So we had a lender actually teach us about this. It was supposed to be a monthly thing. We turned it into 2 big ones that we do each year at Thanksgiving. We send one out as like a gratitude for, you know, just everybody's support. And then at the end of the year for New Year's, we send kind of a recap of the year. And our biggest goal in that is everybody likes having that personal connection. So they're very transparent letters about, you know, anything that's gone on with the business, with our lives, stories that we loved from the year that we want to share with our clients. So it gives that extra personal touch. We've done that one. We have them on the birthday campaigns. We make sure they get either a phone call or a social media post plus the handwritten card. And now I love that it's got the tasks in the smart plan. So basically you log in each day and it's telling you, hey, here's the people you need to go reach out to. So that makes life really easy as far as what the smart plan's enabled for us. And then we have the home anniversary, and we're in the process of, they haven't quite rolled out campaigns for teams yet. So we're trying to figure out how to work a smart plan in the form of a campaign where we can still continue what we had as far as like our 36 touch from the E-Edge campaign. But kind of similar to your DTD2, we do the 555. And so we're implementing a system this year that will help us not be touching the same people each time and make sure we're covering more of a span with our database when we're doing that each day.
Perfect. So Sara, do you mind explaining a little bit more what the 5x5 mean?
Yeah, so the 555, I honestly can't tell you where it came from, but it came out this past year with COVID that somebody had released and talked about, and we really liked it because it simplified down lead gen. Lead gen can be very daunting for a lot of agents, myself included. I am still daunted by it a lot. But that 555 gave my OCD little heart a purpose and a system. So it was basically 5 phone calls, 5 text messages, and 5 emails. We extended that out to have 5 social media posts and 5 handwritten notes as well, so that we're keeping those extra personal touches in there too. So it's just making sure basically that, you know, each day you're at least getting 25 touches of some sort in there.
Perfect. So it's not about overcomplicating it. It's not about calling every single person in your phone and your database every single day. It's about having a system that you can systematically touch your clients, follow up with them, and keep track of them, right?
Yep.
So perfect. So ladies, what we're going to go ahead and thank you for all of the information you shared. We're going to open it up and see if anybody on the call has any questions for our panelists about database, and then we'll wrap up with final thoughts. So if anybody has a question, feel free to either type it in the chat or to unmic and ask the question to our panelists.
Yes,
So I see
Mary, I have a
Jason's
quick question.
unmuting.
Yes, hi. Thank you, everybody, for being on the panel. It's very informative. And as a new agent, just starting out, new career for myself, my business is starting out to collect these people. And let me give you an example. Not only my own social sphere of influence, but also when I make my weekly trip to Costco to pick up groceries, you know, I might social distance, talk to somebody, and text them, ask them permission if I could have their cell phone number, and then text them my business card. So I keep things digital, But I also want to get into, and this is where my question comes from, sending more mailings. I'm a big fan of this, especially farming different communities. I guess to the panelists, what have you done in terms of mail? I did hear calendar that was sent out once a year, but also want to know what else can be sent out and what have you seen success ongoing? You know, I do live, I do get mail here at my house where I do get other agents' mail, and so I do have some ideas there. But just wanted to ask, what have you sent out yourself, and what have you had success with? Thank you.
Perfect. So ladies, who would like to take that first?
I will. So I appreciate you asking that question because I intended to mention it. I send out to my neighborhood. I live in Green Trails, and I do farm to them. So I started sending out like what I call a newsletter. I call it the Green Trails Gazette, and it just has information on it. So I like it to be two-sided. It's actually just a piece of paper. I don't make it in command, although you can make them in command. I just make it on my computer, but I send it out and I get HAR data, and I put that on the back, but on the front, I also put HAR data on the front, I should say, but I put like a graph on the back, and on the front, I just put like information about green trails, about our neighborhood or things that are happening in our neighborhood and things like that. And I put, my contact information. I also put on there that, that I have a list of preferred partners that I work with. If they had anybody that they love that they want me to know about or anything, they could contact me. So I've sent it out every quarter for, I think this is my 8th one that I'm sending out this January. And I got 3 calls in the last quarter on it for the first time. So I got the opportunity to be a guest on a radio program because somebody in my office was or somebody in my neighborhood was hosts a radio show about real estate. And then I've also been in contact with 2 other people who they aren't ready to list right now, but they've been, we've been in contact about it. So you have to be consistent, and it's not, you don't usually get information right away, but I found that it's good to not just have like a postcard that's more thrown away than if they actually open a letter. So
Awesome.
I make my kids help me stamp them and lick them. And we don't lick them, we use a Q-tip, but they have to help me.
Awesome. So Sarah or Holly, do y'all have any other mail outs or anything like that you guys do?
We do a just listed and a just sold mailer for our listings. That's really the only mailer we've stuck with. We had done farming for a bit, and it's very much like Amber said, you have to be consistent, you have to stick with it, and it's not going to be an immediate result. So for us, we ended up focusing back in on our past clients in our sphere because we were having so much success there. It might be something we look at in the future. I know we are looking at targeting Cinco a little bit more now that we've, this past year, we had a lot of Cinco business just because ironically, one listing turned into about 6 or 7 different ones in Cinco from referrals from that one. So, really building that word of mouth with your clients when you do have the business is going to be your biggest thing to back those mailers that you're sending to. So you've got people in the area that can, basically speak for you to your brand.
Awesome. Thank you. Holly, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I have never really farmed. I do just the just sold and the just listed as well.
Perfect.
So just those 2.
Awesome. Thank you, ladies. So we've got a question in the chat. This is from Barbara, who says, how do you come up with the list for who are veterans, who are first responders, and who are teachers? So that's going to be directed at Sarah because you had mentioned that earlier.
So for us specifically, we keep it to the clients we've worked with. We offer what's called the Forza Pays It Forward program. So for any clients that are using us that fall under those categories, they get a 15% commission contribution to them. And then $200 is donated to the Ballard House on their behalf in their name. So it's been kind of giving, having a place coming from the heart. And it's actually been a big portion of our database, first responders especially. We work with a lot of ER nurses. And so once we started out with 1 or 2, it was just spreading the word through them, and that's built our list for each of those categories. So, you know, those are very much tight-knit groups. So if you have 1 or 2 you're close with, then it's from there. We've built it out by, you know, you have Veterans Day, you have Teacher Appreciation Week, you have all the different first responder days. So we really zone in on those for our marketing. Like we do things specifically for ER Nurses Week. During COVID, we sponsored, you know, or I guess before COVID, we had food go to the hospital for the ER nurses. And it just, our name kind of became a big thing within their group, because it was kind of like you talked about with the database, knowing their place of employment too. Usually there's more than one of them working there. So it helps you target, you know, there may be a specific company that has several of those people that you could be farming versus having to cold call, because you've at least built a reputation there. But my recommendation would be, you know, go back through your past clients, see if you have any veterans, first responders, or teachers, and then reach out to them and say, hey, what can I do? You know, I want to do something to show my appreciation. What could I do? What would be something you would enjoy? And who might you recommend? And they'll actually help you build those lists.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah.
Mhm.
So anybody else on the call, did anybody else want to unmic and ask a question for our panelists or put it in the chat? So perfect. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up with our final thoughts. So we'll go Holly, Sarah, and then we'll finish up with Amber. So Holly, what would be your one piece of advice for agents in regards to their database?
Work their database. Don't do like I have done for the past few years. Actually get in and work your database. Make your phone calls.
Perfect. Thank you. And Sarah, what would be your one takeaway for everyone on the call today?
I'd say the same thing. Don't let it be a daunting task for you. Look at it as you're building your business with each step. And when you are inputting information, you know, Jason, you're on the right track. Make sure you're getting all the information. Don't be just sticking in emails that you aren't necessarily going to follow up with, because it just makes it scarier to have to go back and scrub it and deal with it later. So put your quality contacts in there and maybe keep a separate spreadsheet of, here's partial information that I don't know if I'm going to touch or not. So then you're keeping it to your core and making it most efficient for you.
Perfect. And Amber, closing us out.
So I would just say try and keep notes and as much as you can in your database and have it all accessible. Touch it every day, because if you don't, you know, anything that's just left is just going to become stagnant, and that's definitely, you don't want a stinky database. You want something that's going to be growing and it's alive, and the only way it's going to be alive is if you're in there and you're keeping it alive. It doesn't just live on its own, it has to be fed. So you have to feed it information, you have to get in there, clean out information that's no longer valid, and you know, it is what you make it. So you have to get in there and get in there and put everything in there. Just get in the habit of putting everything in there. So
Awesome. Well, Holly, Sarah, Amber, we have several people who are saying thank you in the chat. Thank you for sharing this information. It was very valuable. I know to everyone on the call and everyone who's going to watch this video and training class later. Remember, the biggest thing that our panelists said today was put the information in your database, work your database, and call people, right? Because if they're not in if they can be in your database, but if you don't reach out and touch them, then they don't even know that you're there and you're able to help them. So thank you, everybody who came to our call today. Thank you, ladies, again for being on our panel, and we'll see you at next month's panel.
thank you.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.